Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to show you the best trading indicator on the market. So this is called GoldenGates. It's made by me, just to be clear. And what it is essentially an automated version of my trading strategy. So if anyone knows the way I trade, I'm a trend trader. I look for pullbacks in trends and I enter on them. So what I did was, because I run businesses and I don't want to sit watching the charts 24/7, I built an indicator to basically send me alerts when my strategy was ready to be executed. So all I have to do is watch. Well, sorry, I don't even have to watch. I can just sit here, do whatever I need to do, wait for an alert to get pinged into MetaTrader. I can go and check. And this is what it looks like. So you can see we have these red arrows signaling sells. And the way this works is the algorithm detects what the current trend is. So you can see down here, we've got daily trend and current trend. So it takes into account the trend, and it will wait for these pullbacks and wait for a valid entry, and it will signal in. So you will get mis-entries. So like here, there's a bit of a misfire, but of course it's an indicator. It can never win 100% of the time. But then it can get some really, really great ones like here and up here. So the way this works is you've got these lines, which I'll go into in a moment, but you have mainly got this momentum algo at the bottom. And what this does is almost like an RSI or stochastics. It works in a very similar way, but this doesn't work the same way. It's got custom code. It's made in a custom way. So when you see the price shift from green to red, you can tell that the momentum of buyers is slowing down, and we're now shifting to sellers momentum. So you can see when we have this entry signal right here, we have run out of buyers in this market right here, and we're now heading into sellers. So here we can also see we've rejected this red line, and I'll go into the red line shortly, but you compare this with something like an RSI, and the RSI was overbought at this time. The algo was saying that we're in a bearish trend, so this would have been a great short position to the downside. And you can see exactly the same thing happens here. When we get overextended and the market shifts from bullish to bearish, it signals an entry in a downtrend, or overextended, I should say. So you could catch a 10% move on oil. Now it works really well on oil. It's one of my favorite markets to trade this with because it's a very trending market. The price action is very easy to do. And oil is relatively easy to understand in terms of fundamentals. But this can work on any market. So you can see here we have euro dollar. So you can see again, we did have a slight misfire here when it was just behind on the trend. But again, it's an indicator. You can't expect it to always be perfect. However, it then quickly changed and realized that this was now a bullish market and signaled a buy here. Now this one would have been a 2%, a 2% move in the market. So this could have been, a 1 to 5, 1 to 6, depending on where your stop loss was, or even just a 1 to 3. So as for the lines, what are they? Well, the lines are very interesting, actually. Now, the lines are called pivot points, and these are mathematical and statistical based lines in the market. And it's not something that I created. It's not something that, someone in an office or a bedroom has created. The pivot points have been around for many, many years on trading floors. Now, you can feel free to go and research the story behind them, but yeah, they're very respected in the market, and it's not something that you should really take lightly, actually. So what they are is a calculation of the previous day's moves, and then it calculates R3, R2, R1, a pivot point, S1, S2, and S3. Now what this does is the S levels, so S1, 2, and 3, are essentially supports. R1, 2, and 3 are resistances. And the pivot point is the point in the market where price essentially opened. So you can see where we saw market open here, we opened above. So based on the statistics behind the pivot points, we have a 65% chance that the market will continue in a bullish momentum, or it will close above the pivot point. Now, if it opens below the pivot point, there's also a 65% chance that we'll close below the pivot point. Now, for example, if we come up to R3, which is up here, there is a 90% chance that this is rejected. So there's a 90% chance that the market will close inside R3, so anywhere in this range. So it's a great thing. So for example, if you like to trade news, now it's not something I personally do, but if you do trade news, you can wait for news to spike to S3 or R3. If it closes back inside R3, you could take a short position back to sort of the pivot point or R1 or S1, wherever you want to do. And that's because the statistic has come into play of that 90% chance that the price will not close above R3 or S3. So these levels are great. So you can see how these have held up in the markets. Now you won't see them pip perfect. Again, the markets aren't pip perfect. You'll never get them that clean, really. There's a great example here of S2 being hit and then rejected very quickly and continuing this uptrend. There's an example here of this one is R1. Came in between R1 and R2, could have caught a short position into S2 and then a long position. So this is essentially how it works. And again, here you could have traded this 200 moving average, paired it with the S2 and traded it to the upside. So there's lots of ways to go about doing this, and they're very, very good for scalping and day trading. So we can go into the 15 minutes and you can see there's buy positions and sell positions being signaled here. But when we open above the pivot point, so you can see the open of the market is when the lines are all straight up vertical, and then the day continues and they turn horizontal. So we opened above the pivot here, we continue to the upside. Again, we opened above the pivot, we continue to the upside. And this is how you can use it. Now pair this with the trend reading, with the entry signals, with the algo, and it's very, very simple to get some nice intraday trades. Now I use this almost on a daily basis. So let's go back and have a look on euro dollar and see what we can see. So actually the settings here, so I should probably clarify this. GoldenGates is very, very memory intensive on MetaTrader. So there is a setting to make the, to make the history a lot longer if you want to go back and see more. However, if you start doing that and apply it to, more than 5 charts, your MetaTrader is at risk of crashing. And the reason is because this momentum algo down here takes in every single tick. And that's to be as accurate as possible. And the trend reading is as accurate as possible. This isn't built to be some vague nonsense. This is very, very intensive on your memory because it takes in so much data. It takes in higher time frame data, current time frame, lower time frame data, every tick on the time frame. So it's, intensive. So I have reduced the history on this just to avoid my MetaTrader from crashing. So you can see, again, there are slight misfires sometimes. So you will have to do your due diligence. But if you're scalping, you could very easily catch a trade from here. Actually, let me just change the color of this box. There you go. So you can see there's a nice support here. You got signaled into a long position. So if you saw this on the hourly, you could go down to the 5 minutes or 15 minutes and trade it up into sort of here and catch, what's that, 270 pips. So yeah, lots of ways to go about this, but it's my favorite indicator. Like I said, I use this on a daily basis. And I just sit and I let it do what it does, and it will tell me, it'll give me an alert. So a sound will play, I'll get a notification on my computer, and it will tell me when there's an entry. So guys, if you want to get hold of this, feel free to click the first link in the description. It's built by me and coded by me. So if you want to ask any questions, let me know. You can contact me on Twitter or Instagram or in the Discord. But yeah, it's a very powerful tool. I suggest you go and check it out.